Hi students, this is Suchadata teaching economics to class 11 and here I am with the chapter Rural Development. In this chapter, we shall be focusing on the development of the rural areas in India, that is the villages in India. Since most of our population dwells in villages, it is very important for us to see that there is proper development in the rural areas. Now, the big question is, are we a developed nation? Has our rural areas actually developed? The answer is big no. Because if you move towards the countryside, you will see that in the rural areas, there is poverty, there is unemployment, there is illiteracy and rural indebtedness. If you go and have a closer look at the rural areas in India, you will see that the population living in the villages lives below the poverty line. And most of the people in villages are unemployed and most of them are actually disguised unemployed. That is, they themselves do not realize that they are unemployed. On a small farm, there are many members of the family who work together, that is 10 on a same farm where only 2 are required. Besides, most of the people living in the rural areas are illiterate. There are no good schools and colleges around and thus majority of the population in the rural areas remains illiterate. And of course, rural indebtedness is another feature of the rural areas in India. For every occasion, good or bad, meaning to say in happiness or in grief, and for various other occasions, the farmers in India tend to take loan from the money lender since their incomes are very meager. Thus, the rural indebtedness is deep rooted in the rural areas in India. So, we need to develop the rural areas of India. What actually is rural development? The simple definition of rural development is when there is all-round development, meaning to say an action plan which improves the social and economic condition of the people. That is social and economic development. The action plan which is undertaken is termed as rural development. The society should become free of all the social evils which are prevalent in the rural areas and economically they get chances of employment and of generating some income is termed as economic development. Now, what are those steps which can be undertaken for rural development? The first step is development of infrastructure. Unless there are no proper infrastructure in the rural areas, that is, we do not have good transport, power facilities or good markets or the credits available, we cannot boast of development. The next factor is human capital formation. We have to work upon the human force which is there in the rural areas, that is to say literacy or education and the health and the on-job training and also the migration of the population needs to be focused upon in order to have good human capital formation. There are other factors also which are responsible, about which I shall be talking about in the next clipping, which are responsible for the rural development in India.